and gentlemen, back for another episode of the Quarantine Questionnaire from the HRL. I'm here with a guy that has many nicknames. One, world's greatest backup driver, the buoy hunter, the beer stealer, also the author of the monologue, driver of such boats as the CS61, the CS60, the H8, the A23, the GP-777, the GP-93, the GP-444, the GP-79, the GP-35, the National Mod 60, the U5 in testing, and many, many others. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Monahan. How you doing, Mike?
Great. How are you doing, Steve-O?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm glad to get you in here to do this interview. You were highly requested, so I thought I got a chance to get you in here. So how are things going up in Sudbury?
Good, man. It's a little different than being down in Southern Ontario, but you know, I like it. I really like it a lot.
Well, it's good for you and your other hobbies in the wintertime. I know you're right into the snowmobiling, so.
Yeah. I made sure I bought my house that's literally a half a kilometer from the trail. So I was like, yeah, I'm in.
That's perfect. For you, I know for me, it's been difficult. I've been involved in boat racing my whole life as a spectator, driver, crewman. For you as well, which has been a very long time. What is this like for you, not racing?
Wow. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, you know, I'm 56 and, you know, my father raced for years. And I mean, this would have been probably my 53rd or 54th year going to Valleyfield. And, you know, it could have been a couple of years I missed. I have no idea. But, yeah, it's been hard, but you know, you adjust and you find other things to do. And I mean, I miss it. I miss all you guys. I miss all the people and the competition and, you know, the Friday and the Saturday night having a few beers and laughing, you know. I mean, I think it's the same for everybody. I mean, hydroplane racing in itself is just like you know, everybody said it's a huge family, you know, and you miss that.
You definitely do. I'm pretty lucky because I live around a lot of racers. We all live kind of, well, 4 or 5 of us live in the same town, so we get to see each other, but it's not the same as when you get to go and hang out with your second family, as you said there. So it's been a tough summer so far, but hopefully next year everything's back to normal. I was really excited for you getting to drive that GP this year. I thought you were going to make a serious run at the title, so hopefully that happens in 2021.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ronnie and Sandy and, you know, Steve Webb, all those guys, Ed, you know, this year was going to be a really good year. I mean, you know, with the new power from Serge Blanchette and, you know, George and Brandon doing a lot of work off season on the boat up at TBR North, as Ronnie calls it. And, yeah, I was really looking forward to it. And, you know, just that thing, man. Who could predict this thing? You know, you just wow.
I know. But hopefully next year it carries over, and you guys have even more time to be prepared. And you know, I think you're going to be a serious threat for it. I was a little disappointed because I won't be on your radios this time. This year we had a little chemistry going on there, but I think you're going to be just fine with a guy like Chris Galbraith, who has so much experience driving himself. So.
Yeah, no, that was you know, I was a little disappointed. You know, obviously, we got together last year and had some, you know, good things happen. But, you know, you got to look after number one, and you know, you have to honor what your owner Al Thompson wants. And yeah, it's not a problem. Chris will be great. You know what I mean? We'll just, you know, get together on the same page. I'll tell him what I need and what I want, and he'll be great.
Yeah, I agree. There won't be any issues there. How many boats do you think you've driven, Mike?
Holy shit. Oh, sorry. Can I say shit? I just said it 3 times. Shit. Holy. I kind of tried to think about it. It's like old girlfriends. I couldn't remember how many I had. I don't know. It's probably close to 100 or maybe, I guess, 70. I have no idea. I mean, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so you've driven in like every class except for 1.5 stock and skiffs?
G&H.
7 liter.
I haven't driven one of those. I'll never get in a skiff ever. Those guys are pretty crazy, and I don't know if my back would survive it, but yeah. And yeah, one day I'd like to drive a G&H, preferably Cal Phipps. That'd be pretty fun.
All right. Do you have a favorite out of all the boats you've driven?
On a personal matter, it would have to be, in the 90s with my CS60, the Techno Marine. I mean, we won a lot of races in that boat. That was by far probably, my favorite boat because we had such, so much success in it. Mm-hmm. I mean, driving the 35 now is pretty cool. But, they're all good in their own way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And pretty much everything I've driven has been, pretty good, So, I've driven some slugs too. I owned a slug. So, I mean, you appreciate it. I think everybody who races a boat should start off in something, not as good as the best boats and experience what it's like to drive around in the back of the pack, because it's not fun. But, that's how I started. My dad and I built a boat, and he had the Carruthers boat. I had one. I rode around in the back and just got the shit beat out of me. And you appreciate it when you get into a good piece of equipment. But I'd say the 35 right now, with all the work that the Thompsons have done on it, is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. That year that you had that Techno Marine, did you guys lose a heat?
No.
You won everything.
Well, okay, all right, hold on. I'll have to step back. We were way out in front in the first race of the season in where's Chrétien from? What's the name of that place? Jean Chrétien.
Yeah. Back.
What the hell was that? Up north of Three Rivers.
Bill Marine?
No. I forget the name of the town. It was a really cool race, and I was way out in front in the final, and my throttle cable broke, and of all people to beat me, Mike Grendel. So yeah, I lost that heat, but I didn't lose another heat the rest of the year.
Right. Now, that was when it was the Carruthers Hull, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for a while, I was going to ask you what your thoughts on the Carruthers family, because I know they were, a big part of the sport in the late 80s, early 90s, with a lot of successful hulls. So maybe just touch on your experience with them.
Well, it goes back a long way. My dad and Eldon Carruthers were racing in the 50s. They were best friends. Every year when we had the two races down on the East Coast, we'd go down there for 2 weeks, and just so many stories, so much fun, hanging out with Eric and Steve and Mark Carruthers and Gary LaFrance. And I mean, good times, man. There's some wild stuff, but, so you get to spend, a week or two down there just hanging out. It was like, you did it. It's so much fun. And they built great boats. I always said that Steve, the last one he built was a 2.5 mod, but I mean, it was pretty fast, and they did some pretty cool things with the roller bearing shafts and the struts and stuff like that. And but yeah, it was they were quite a family, and when Eldon passed, it was a big loss, and especially for my dad. And then obviously my dad passed, but yeah, great family, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have a lot of great memories of that family, and it's been interesting to watch Adam and the stuff he's been doing, because he's built a couple outboards, and now he has the old Heron choker back, and he's rebuilding that to run on the Vintage Series. So it's going to be neat to see.
That'd be cool. Maybe you'll get a ride in it.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been pining for one in that boat, because I've never driven a Carruthers Hull.
Yeah.
But yeah, so who would be your favorite driver of all time?
I go back to when I was a kid and, following my dad around and stuff like that. I'd have to say Marty Niles. I mean, when he was racing for Huey and the Crush and the Miss America and stuff like that, he was pretty good. He was a nice person. I mean, oh my God, he'd take the time to talk to you. And, I was probably 10, 11, 12. And yeah, he was probably probably back when I was growing up, he was the guy because, you know, he was a good looking guy, had tons of personality. He drove hard. You know, Marty Niles for sure.
Another guy that went
But
way
now,
too young.
pardon me?
Another guy that left way too young.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I don't know. I mean, there's so many good drivers, you know.
Yeah.
It's just hard to pick one out. You know, they're all good, especially in the GP class. Anybody can win. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. So are you a second generation driver, or did your grandfather, was he involved in racing?
No, I'm second generation. My dad, you know, he started in the late 50s in stock outboard and raced the 60s, and then yeah, it kind of pissed me off when I turned 9 and my dad was racing stock outboard. So I'm going, yeah, baby, I'm gonna get a J. No, he went inboard racing. So
I had to wait again.
I was like, great, Dad, thanks. So 1972, away we go, and he bought the 3-liter from Don McDonald, the old color flame. There's some posts going around on Facebook about that lately. So yeah, it kind of just, my dreams were dashed at 9 years old. So it is what it is.
Good learning experience.
Oh, absolutely.
And so your brother also races in the flat bottom class. And anybody else in your family involved in racing?
No. My other brother, he went off on the motorcycle end of it, so he's a big Harley guy, and he took off out west when I was a kid. But I had my daughters, Megan and Madison, showed a little interest. But the best, I remember asking Madison, I said, "Do you want to do this?" And she says, "Yep." "But do I have to go every weekend?" I go, "You answered my question." So save myself a lot of money.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, boat racing is awesome, but it's time consuming. If you want to win, you have to devote every minute of your spare time to it. And even sometime, you know, it's not spare, but I mean, you know, when you want to be successful, it's 100%. And, you know, made some mistakes along the way, you know, putting boat racing ahead of everything else. And I always tell the young guys, like especially BJ, you know, when he bought Einer's boat back, I said, do me one favor. And I said, put your family first, work second, and put this third, because unless you're independently wealthy, it can bite you in the butt, which I know.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us guys that, well, for me, anyway, speaking personally, I've been lucky because I've been surrounded with good people that have helped me, right? And it would have been a disaster if I didn't have that. I would have been in the back because I wouldn't have been able to afford to move up front. And I tell my kids all the time, like, if you want to do this, you better learn to be good friends with a lot of great people and work extremely hard, because otherwise it's not going to happen, right? So I don't know if I could do it again.
I mean, I go back to my career after my dad got in the accident and and I took over his boat. I mean, I wouldn't have been as successful as I was if it wasn't for Gary O'France, you know, Ralph O'Brien, you know, all those guys that helped me out along the way. Gary was huge, right? Taught you how to do things correctly. And, you know, he was probably the most influential person in my racing other than my dad. But it was Gary, you know, he taught me a lot of things and how to do them correctly.
Yeah, I would say the same about Paul Hewitt for me.
Yeah.
You know, without him, I don't know where I would be, you know, so.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and Hammer actually helped me a lot too. And I have him down here, a question about Hammer for you. Like,
Awesome.
It's sad to not have Hammer around now, because he was such a staple in the sport, you know.
Oh my God, the amount of miles him and I drove to go to races is like, it was basically from 94 to 2000, and I think I sold my boat in 7 to Mark Thurett, but like every weekend we went, you never missed one, you know what I mean? So Mr. Gadget, Mr. Fix It, you know what I mean? Oh my God, it was hilarious. He could rig stuff up like no one else.
Yeah, he was amazing. He wired my boat when I built it, and it wasn't rewired for 10 years. Never
Yeah,
had a
no
problem.
kidding.
Never
Yeah,
had a problem.
yeah.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Oh yeah.
So how did the beer stealer nickname come around?
Frig, man. I think you were with me that day because we were in Webster. It was on a Friday and it was super hot. And, they're setting up the pits. Everything was set up. Grendel brought his offshore boat there and he had it parked up on the beach, Mike Grendel. And I was like, oh man, let's go in the water. I says, I got an idea. So we go into Grendel's boat. We take all his life jackets, put them on like diapers, like, the lazy river in Brockville.
Yeah.
We float out in the river. We all had a beer and, we're out of beer. And I was like, this time as the backup driver for the Steeler, right? So I said, oh, God, there's like, I think it was you. I can't remember. It was you, me, Pat Hewitt,
Yeah,
whatever.
it was us. Yeah.
So I said, just a minute. So I run up the shore and Huey's sitting in the back of the holler. And I go, Huey, I need to borrow 4 beers. And before he answered, I had the cooler open and I threw 3 beers out into the lake so you guys could grab them. And then away I go. Wow, Huey was pissed. I didn't know he was pissed. And, fucking people, come and taking their beer, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, okay. So the next day I raced, I think I was racing Greg's 2.5, Greg Marker's 2.5.
Yeah.
You forgot CS9, which was a fast boat.
Yes.
This is no word of a lie. I finished the final heat. I got out of the boat. I took my life jacket on. I borrowed Doug Ratt's truck. I drove down the street to, liquor store or whatever you call them down there, went in and bought a 30 pack of Bud Light, drove back, walked through the pits. Everybody's around the back of the Steeler. I just walked by and I dropped it on the back of his trailer and I kept on walking. That's how Beer Steeler started, all right? So really, it's all Huey's fault, all right?
And he actually got 27 beers out of it because he.
Well, pretty much, yeah. He made out like a bandit. And so that's how it all started. And I've never stole a beer. I've liberated beers from drowning in an icy cold death. That's how I look at it. I saved them.
That's fair. I love that one because I was there and it was a great day. I think it was actually Rob Stevenson that was with us. And
Rob, I think so, yeah. Yeah.
It's too funny.
But that's how it all started, and it's stuck. And I'm like, oh my God. And anybody who knows me, when I go someplace, I always have beer, but they still want to use it and
I know.
have a little fun with it. Whatever. You know what I mean? I almost did a video. We were talking about it. I was going to do a beer stealing video on my street, but I just said, I'm just adding fuel to the fire, and I took the high road on that one. So
yeah, it would have been good.
I kind of would like it to just kind of fade away a little bit, but everybody seems to think that. But that's how it all happened. So
yeah, that was hilarious that day.
Oh yeah, that was a fun day.
Yeah. Who do you think are going to be the champions this year? We'll start with the S class.
Whew. I like the thing just happened for Aiden Sauvé and the Thompsons, which they just announced. Now he's my teammate. I watched the kid drive, and his demeanor is like unbelievable. He doesn't get excited. He doesn't say too much. He just, he listens great. You know what I mean? And, Ed's going to give him a really good piece of equipment. I know he'll be on, restrictions for a while. But, once he gets off that, I think he'll really challenge for it. But I got to say, probably Owen right now. I mean, if the whole thing actually happens, you know what I mean? And, Matisse and Donald Duke's old boat's going to be good. Think about it. You got Amanda Brody.
Yep.
Coming in with a good piece of equipment, and you never know. The Brodys have been around forever, and it's pretty open. It's pretty open. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fun to watch. I always watch 2.5 and 2500.
I mean, you got those 4 kids coming in there that all come from families with huge pedigree in boat racing.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun to watch. I really like that Thompson, the TBR, that they're doing that with young drivers, with Scott Liddycoat getting the 1.5, Grant Liddycoat. Amazing.
Yeah. You know, the Thompsons have huge hearts, and I mean, for what they did, they did for Aiden last year, they did a fantastic job in what they're doing for Grant and Aiden again. I mean, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, they spent a lot of money on this, and they're going, hey, okay, let's bring some kids in, and here you go, have fun. And it's great. I mean, if we had more like that, it would be better. But you can't do nothing but applaud Ronnie and Ed and Sandy and everybody there that's doing this.
Well, they have had, I think, a boat in every class at some points at the races, which is unbelievable, trying to keep all that together. You have to have a great team behind you, and I know Steve Webb is a big part of that whole thing too.
Yeah, Steve-O's a cat, man. I trust him with my life. He does most of the safety stuff on the boat for me, and he never gets really frustrated. He gets aggravated, but I can calm him down and make him laugh. And I feel really good about the safety aspect of my boat with Steve and everybody at TBR looking after it, and George and Brandon. A bunch of cool stuff happened over the off season.
Yeah, no, I saw that the boat was being worked on, and I was really excited to watch it, but we'll get back to it.
Yep.
What about the F class?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one. I don't know, some guy in the F92 might have a pretty good shot at it.
I hope so.
Maybe. Yeah.
I look at the work that Scott's been doing on his boat. He never stops, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, another class, right? Scott's just, his work is impeccable. I mean, I follow it on Facebook, and the stuff that he does is pretty amazing. He's pretty precise, but his dad was that way too. Everything looked great, everything fit perfect. Yourself, if everything's done right, you have a better chance to go fast. I mean, you two guys should go at it pretty hard. What's that?
It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I always watch 2500 and 2.5 because it's where I started.
Yeah. It's I watched you win in Valleyfield in that class, and as a kid, and I always wanted to win that race in that class really bad, and came close lots of times, but never been there. So I'm hoping that it happens.
Toughest race to win, by far, is Valleyfield. I won it, I don't know, 3 times, or I can't remember, in 2.5. I won it in Joe Cheesham's 1 liter mod one year, and have I come close in Grand Prix? My mistakes cost us probably one. You know what I mean? It's just so hard to win. I mean, but to win, that would be like, damn.
Yeah, to win the GP final in Valleyfield. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, let's go with that. Who's going to win the GP championship?
I mean, it's going to be us, but there's so many good guys out there. I mean, anybody can win it on any given day. If I do my job correctly and everything's right on the boat, with the new Surge Manchette power and stuff like that, I just can't make any mistakes. You make a mistake, one mistake can set you back, right? One jump in the gun, or one, penalty in the corner or something like that. So you have to be pretty much perfect and consistent. Our first year we were very consistent. Second year, not so bad. Third year, we just, had some stuff, you know what I mean? And it's, I think I drove the best, the latter half of last year. It's just like, you gotta be perfect, and you don't get any mulligans in GP for sure.
No, and same with the H class. We'll go with that next. I mean, we were talking about it last week. You throw one blade of a propeller off one heat and you're done.
man, that was like some of the best racing I've watched. Detroit last year in the 350s, it was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
You know, that racing was fantastic. I mean, unbelievable.
The cool thing about that class is you have like 5 best friends all in good rides, and they really want to beat each other. So it's fun to watch. And then you throw Ken Henderson in there too. It makes it pretty exciting. And another guy that was coming up at the end of last year, I think is going to be a threat, is Mikhail Tremblay. He's learning. Yeah,
and I mean, you know, I drove the 8 as you did, and when I was driving it, I said, you guys got to update to the new sponsons, and which Bill and Bert did. And the boat it's fast. You know, you got Hewitt power in there, and you know, Mikhail Tremblay is, you know, a good driver. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to put it out there. But oh my God, Dylan Ridding, Potato, you know, freaking, I don't know about Kent this year. He's going to have his hands full with the GP, and you know, Donnie Allen. I mean, even Paul Barber was really getting fast at, you know, at certain times through the year. Yeah, Nicky Bruce. I mean, dude, it's just like flip a coin.
Derek Smith, you know, he can go on.
Derek, yeah. It doesn't. It's a crazy class, and you know, anybody, one mistake in a qualifier puts you from lane 1 or 2 to maybe not even making the final.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
You know,
so
and it's fantastic to watch. You know, I mean, all the racing is fantastic to watch. GP, 2.5, skiffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all awesome.
Everything.
Yeah, the skiffs are going to be cool this year with Jimmy Stewart coming full time to push Tom a bit. Mac's going to have his hands full a little bit there. So.
Yeah, and I mean, those are the 2 guys I would pick. You know, you know, the toss up there, but you know, you get some other guys, Mike Hendrickson. I mean, you never know. Again, make a mistake, see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, who would be your favorite HRL staff member?
It's not Patrick Howard, that's for sure. I don't know. They're all pretty good. Anne Marie, I mean, everybody says Anne Marie. She is pretty tough job. She has to be tough when she has to be, right? And then she's a nice woman. You know what I mean? They're all good.
Yeah,
reservations of who, you know, Mary Claude, everybody. I mean, it's a pretty cool atmosphere that HRL has set up. I mean, the people that they have working for them are, you know, top notch, and it's just nice, you know. And you know, it's not like sometimes when you go to registration, it's like, you know, holy crap, you know, you don't say a word, don't make a mistake. You have to have fun in this thing. This is what this whole sport's about, is having fun.
Yeah, I agree. You know? So it's pretty welcoming environment now. I remember when I first started racing, it was a lot more serious at the registration tables and stuff. Now the girls are joking with you at the desk, and you know, everybody knows you have to take the breathalyzer, so everybody's watching. And
yeah. But again, we have the same people doing the same job every weekend. You know.
Yeah.
When you know, and it's no slight on APBA, but you know, every little community has their people and so you don't build that camaraderie with them because you don't see them 8 weekends out of the year. You know, you might see them one weekend here, another one down there. So we get to know the people that we're racing with, and you know, it just makes it more enjoyable for all of us. I mean, HRL's done a great job with the circuit for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, what's in your opinion, what would be the biggest bromance in the pit?
Well, that's easy. It's actually kind of a 3-way romance, and this is how it works. It's Mike Gebline and Huey Newport and anybody who drives the Steeler. I mean, Bert, and then the John Threat for 2 laps. Then it was it was Kent's. You know, now you got Jimmy King. Oh my God, whoever was driving the Steeler, biggest romance in the pits. Now it's Andrew Tate. So now they got the most popular, most handsome driver, and oh my God, by far the biggest romance. Mike Deadline, Huey Newport, and whoever drives the Steeler.
That's good. I like that one. I like that. Oh, man. Do you think there's going to be another world's greatest backup driver, or does it end with you?
Bobby Kennedy's doing a pretty good job at it. You know what I mean? He's been driving a lot of different boats and different weekends. He could be the next guy. I'll train anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to step into that position, we're good to go. Just come and give me a call. I'll tell you how it's done.
Yeah.
Best move I ever made, 2007, selling my boat to Mark Thorette. I'll tell you that for sure. Yeah,
which I'm sure was a tough decision because you were so competitive all the time.
It was time, and this is funny. I fully expected that's it, and then my buddy Dan Canfouche was going down to Portsmouth the next year, and he says, "Why don't you come with him?" Go by myself. Yeah, sure. So I jump in the truck and drive down there. We drive in the pits, and I never even got out of the truck, and I was driving somebody's boat, and then it just started from there. So I've driven for a lot of everybody's been great that I've driven for.
Yeah, I was. I know what that retirement thing's like because I planned on being done myself. You can't get away from it that easily.
It's hydroplane racing is like crack. You want some more. It's. I know. I wish I was 40 again, but I'm not. I want to do this for a couple more years if I can. Then I want to bring somebody along, and I'll never leave the sport, because it's just where my friends are and stuff like that. I'll never be a referee. Screw that. Then that's the worst. You got you're friends with everybody, and then you got to call them on a penalty, and you're like, ugh. Yeah, and then you can't really drink beer with them after the races. I was like, yeah, no, that'll never happen.
Yeah, I don't envy Jonathan's position sometimes, man. He's it's tough, but I think we're at the point now where you can have that friendship still and just have the respect for the referee, right? Once you get to know him,
I think so too. But I mean, it's just I just don't want. I have enough pressure in life than dealing with that on a weekend. You know what I mean? I could be a radio guy or something when I'd retire, I guess.
I was going to say that I know you've done radios before. I've done quite a few. I love it. I love that part of the sport. It almost makes you feel like you're out on the water with the driver. But like you got to race for the bulk of your career without radios. I had like maybe 5 years without them. What do you think the biggest differences are with the radios since they've come into the sport?
For radios now, safety for sure is number one. But if you have a really good spotter, a really good radio guy, he can help you actually advance your position or protect your position a lot easier now. I mean, back in the day when I started, you're in open boat, so you just turn your head, right? Now you're like going down a straightaway trying to look at a mirror. My dad would call it vibration on a stick, and you're trying to focus on that. And you get into rough water and you're trying to focus on the water, you really don't have enough. You can take a quick glance, but having that radio guy there to say, hey, you got 4 or you got your rooster tail to get over is a huge advantage. But you have to have really good trust in your radio guy.
No, I agree. You need to know. For me, the biggest thing that I found was I was taking a little bit extra time to make sure I had a tail, because I glanced in the mirror. I wasn't sure if it was a tail before I shut the door.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it so much when you have a radio guy that can just be like, yep, shut it down. It's like, boom, yeah. You don't have to think about it, right? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and then try doing it in the GP when you're going 140 or 145 miles an hour. There's no time, right? And especially the courses we race, it gets rougher and rougher the more you go. So you're really concentrating on your water and where you're going, and to take a quick glance if you have to, but you can't. At that speed, it's insane. A radio guy is really good. Radio guy is 100% important.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed when I first started doing radios for the GP class was how much quicker it happened. Like it was substantially, you had to be on your game. Like, with the other classes, you can kind of look around at see what's happening with the rest of the field. In GP, you can't. It's constantly what's happening with your boat and, within its rooster tail. It's so,
Right.
Things happen so quickly. So you have to have somebody who knows what they're talking about for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Who do you think the best starter is?
That's a tough one. I mean, I think I'm a pretty good starter. But I mean, Brandon for sure. Brandon is always there. I mean, Donnie Allen. I mean, yourself. There's the guys that are up front. Generally, it starts at the start. Pushing the envelope, making sure your timing is right. But Brandon's a really good starter.
Yeah, that guy's seems to be, doesn't matter what he drives, and he usually has very good equipment, but he's always there, man. He's a good driver.
Do you know the key? He has a really good radio woman.
Yep.
His mom. So I mean, Sandy, she's done my radios a couple times, and she's really good. So I mean, that helps a lot.
Yeah, she's
Grendel's turned into a good radio guy.
Yeah.
Mike has turned into really, at first, oh my God. I'll tell you a story about that. So Dougie is driving the 2.5, and Doug would come and ask me for stuff. He goes, oh my God, can you talk to Grendel? It's like, he's horrible on the radios. And I said, I know, because he was doing mine. And so went and talked to him and said, Mike, I'm going to do Doug's radios. Just listen. So Doug was in Tonawanda, I think. Doug's first win, and I did his radios. Yeah. And Mike is pretty smart. He picked up on it, and his demeanor, he got way too excited. Grendel gets all excited. But now, he's probably one of the premier radio guys. But I mean, and he did mine in the GP for years, and he was good. Yeah. So radio guys keep.
Yeah, absolutely. Who would you say is the weakest driver?
Bert Henderson. Oh my God. Did you see his legs? He looks like a freaking, his nickname, I call him, is a chicken hawk. Remember the chicken in Foghorn? I'm a chicken hawk. I mean, that Bert, oh, for sure. Oh my God. How many times has he blown his spleen out or broke his wrist or friggin', oh my God, Spleen McQueen. Remember that? The second time he did it, I went up there, I go, you got some explaining to do. Who T-boned him in the go-kart? Who was that? His brother?
Had to be Lee Bob, right?
Was it Lee Bob? Yeah.
Had to be.
No, he's definitely the weakest. Oh my God. He's like Gumby. Remember Gumby? That?
Yes. All right. Who's the strongest?
Definitely Tommy. I mean, Tommy Thompson. Guy's got pipes on him. He only got mad at me once, and I was like, note to self, don't do that again. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's, Tommy's probably the strongest. Jimmy King. Oh my God. Both of those guys are, and they're both older than me. So there you go. Pac's older than me. Jimmy King, Tommy Thompson, they're all older than me, so I'm not the oldest guy.
Yeah, so you're respecting your elders then.
Absolutely.
I remember one time I got Tom Diabo mad at me in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And you came up to me and said, that's the one guy you don't want to get mad at you in the whole place. Like,
Old Tommy.
He cooled down, but he was upset with me.
Oh, by the way, what do you think of my office picture here? It's
beautiful,
pretty cool.
Yeah, looking good.
Yeah.
Good.
I move it from room to room, so that hangs in my bedroom tonight, right? And then when I go downstairs, then I hang it up on the wall. When I go to the bathroom, I just take it with me everywhere.
Take it around. All right. So you're not the oldest. We know that. Do you know who is the oldest driver?
Oh, Packer Duty's the oldest.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. And he looks probably younger than a lot of us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. What about the sexiest?
Everybody, this is easy. Michelle Morgan.
Yes. You're the first
All
one
right.
that has
Everybody's saying Andrew Tate. Like, what's wrong with you people? Michelle Morgan.
Absolutely. I agree.
Whoa.
So, what do you do outside of boat racing, Mike? What's your job?
What's my job?
Yeah.
I've been selling paint coatings and epoxies for 33 years, and I work for Sherwin-Williams, and they asked me to come up to Sudbury and take over the territory and turn it around, which my store and I are doing a really good job at. That's what I do, sell paint.
And your company's started to be involved in boat racing too. I see the name on a few boats.
Well, from a TBR point of view, is Ron and they own a bunch of auto dealerships and collision repair centers, and Sherwin-Williams is a big part of their business. So I guess they buy a lot of coatings off them. It's nothing related to me, but Sherwin is really cool. Sherwin will send up every year one of their NASCAR teams to come up and paint the boat.
Awesome.
So, which is really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ronnie and Sandy stuff always looks really good. And you got Sherwin-Williams on there, right? Perfect. Yeah. And it's kind of ironic. I work for Sherwin-Williams, so it's like it was kind of hilarious when this all came together.
It's probably pretty cool for them, the guys that painted it, to go up and paint something other than a car.
Yeah.
It's probably neat for them.
Yeah. No, it's been good.
All right. If you could change your name to anything, what would it be?
Dick Trickle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be Warwick Lupton.
Warwick. Yeah, that is pretty
Warwick.
cool.
What a great name. Warwick.
Yeah, it's a beauty.
Yeah, Warwick.
What would you think in all of your career? I mean, obviously Valleyfield would be what everybody says, but other than that, what's your biggest win?
I'd have to go back. Well, the first GP win in Cambridge for sure. All right, winning that in, what was it, 2018, I think it was, and that was pretty cool to win a GP. I should have had 2 or 3 last year, just circumstances. But I guess probably in my own stuff was winning the 2004 Nationals in Hampton in my 2.5, and that was a loaded field, and I think Dan was in it, Cam Fouche was in it, and Joe Longo and Dutch, and I ended up starting. They were all up there, putt. My water pump had broke, so I was like, well, she's going to be from the outside. And I won it from lane 8. I just tagged my start, and I didn't chop the whole field. I probably moved in a little bit each lap, and I was able to hold off Joe Longo. So that, for me, on a personal basis, other than the GP win, was probably my biggest win. And it was hilarious. I got another story. Dan will hate this one. So we had a restart. So Dan was like, oh, I got to change propeller. What are you running? Oh, I'm running this. So we put the same one. I wasn't running that. I was running that.
That's what you don't
I feel bad. I feel bad, but, it was the U.S. Nationals. Dan's one of my close best friends. And, I talked him out of the propeller thing. So that was kind of cool.
You know what? I don't think I've ever told anybody the truth about what prop I'm running unless they're in a different class. Like, it's years later, right? Like, because I get it all the time. Guys will come, what prop do you guys run that heat? Like, I'm not telling you that. That's our secret weapon, right?
Yeah. And absolutely. Dan and I had a different relationship, though. We shared back when that was probably the most fun I had racing, owning my own stuff. And Dan and I would go to races together, and most fun. We had 2A radios talking back and forth at 2 a.m, making each other laugh to get home. And that's probably some of the most fun I had racing, was running with Dan, and we shared a lot of stuff. I gave him a motor in Decatur because his blew up and he beat me. for the Eastern Divisionals. I was like, yes.
He beat you with your spare?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was his head and my bottom end, and we put it together, him and I, in the pits, and he went out and won the Easterns.
That's awesome. That's another guy that I miss seeing around the pits. He was such an inspiration as a driver because he won a lot. I don't know if there's anybody that's won as much as that guy.
You know, I tell you a story about Dan when he started. You know, he built one boat. Was no good. He built another one, a kind of a copy of Warren Howard's Why Not. He turned that into very competitive. Was just watching the evolution of that guy. You know, back, and he kept creeping up, trying to catch me. He finally got to me and then surpassed me. But you know, he's a physicist, so you know, pretty smart dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I see his son is really into the online racing, and he won last weekend at that online event. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Eddie in a boat at some point. He seems to kind of have the same temperament as Dan.
Well, rumor has it that he's actually my son. So luckily, Lynn didn't make me pay any child support. I mean, but obviously that's where the talent comes from. All right, you know, and he's taller than Dan, so I don't know. It might come out sooner or later, but yeah, I'd like to see Eddie in the boat. Yeah, I think he's a very mature, funny kid. Oh my God, that's why another reason I think he's my kid, because Dan's like zero funny. You know what I mean? So serious all the time. But I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I'd love to see Eddie in the boat.
Yeah, me too.
I think he'd do well.
Oh, I think so too. He has the temperament. You see a lot of great drivers, and they are calm. You know, they have a good sense of humor. They don't get all worked up. Many of the successful drivers have that personality. So I could totally see it. Do you have any allies in the sport?
I have lots of friends. You know, allies. No, I mean, I wouldn't want an ally. I wouldn't want somebody to cut me a break or anything like that. You know, I want to win. I want to win legit. You know what I mean? And you know, tons of friends. I mean, everybody that we raced with is great. But when you're out on the water, like look at you know, that one year in Valleyfield when I squeezed Bert. You know, there was 12 foot 4 inches there in between me and the buoy, and you know, I could have left 13, but I was in a 12-4 kind of mood. So I left them enough, and you know, away it went.
Well, you're trying to win Valleyfield, so
exactly.
Is what it
and
is.
if you didn't think that way, get the hell out of your boat. I mean,
well, yeah, you shouldn't be driving. Yeah, no, I agree.
No, it's like you got to be on. You know, you're not going to hurt anybody, but you got to be on kill mode every time you're out there. You know, type A personalities, they want to win every time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when you see guys that don't mind getting beat, then you know they're not very good. They shouldn't be racing.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about the funniest driver in the pits? Who's the funniest guy?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I think when you, myself, Pat, and Kent get together at a driver's meeting, we laugh a lot. So I mean, it's a combination of those guys. I mean, I like to have fun whatever I do, make people laugh and smile and get a chuckle. But yeah, hanging out with you guys, I kind of miss half the drivers meeting half the time because we're laughing so hard.
I know.